How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. I hope you guys are doing great today. Thank you guys so much for stopping in as we continue to cover the Kansas City Chiefs as they inch closer to the regular season. With this podcast coming out, there have now been 2 preseason games that the Kansas City Chiefs have both played and unfortunately have both lost in. Originally, the first game was up against the Arizona Cardinals, and most recently, the Chiefs had a kind of like a comeuppance. It's like, we got to get our stuff together against the Seattle Seahawks. And I say that in terms of this is the first time that we've seen the Kansas City Chiefs in a second, dating back to last season in the Super Bowl loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, lose 3 consecutive. And I understand, the Super Bowl loss, that's the big one. That's the big kicker. But, losing, even if it's in the preseason, is never fun. There's a lot of things that the Chiefs have done well, but there's also things that the Chiefs have not done well. More specifically, though, there's been a lot of rookie improvement that we've seen, at least from when they heard their name called on draft day to right now. And I think that one of the best guys standing out that has almost been kind of overlooked since the draft has begun or concluded has been the Chiefs' 5th round draft pick in linebacker Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon. Now, I say overlooked because when you look at the Chiefs draft class, there's a lot of guys who kind of stand out rather than the middle round kind of guys. For example, a lot of talks have been surrounded around Josh Simmons. Is Josh Simmons going to be able to recover from his injury? He's a number 1. He's a top pick. He's a first rounder. And then you're starting to hear a little bit more about Jalen Royals, just given the circumstances that the Chiefs have in their wide receiving room. They have a guy that they're able to, rely on and, kind of step up and fill in for Rashee Rice should he get suspended for a multitude of games. And even then, Rashard Smith, he's another guy. He's been covered a lot this offseason due to the fact that the Chiefs' running game last year was not super high. But when you look at the middle rounds of the draft, the Chiefs had to address the defensive side of the ball, and they did that with Omar Norman-Lott, Ashton Gelati, Noel Williams, and then Jeffrey Bassa. There's a lot of guys on the defensive side that's going to be able to or looking to get a spot on this roster with some excessive reps. I think that since Jeffrey Bassa has been drafted, he's kind of been a guy that has needed to prove himself and prove his worth to not only the organization, but also that he is as valuable in the draft selection process as any of the other guys, whether they be a 1st round pick or a 7th round pick. Being a 5th round pick, in my eyes, that's kind of like the workhorse kind of player. There's the potential that has to be reached, but if they don't have the drive to get there, then they're not going to be as successful. But what we've seen thus far from Jeffrey Bassa, whether it be through rookie mini camp to into training camp and in the preseason games, man, Jeffrey Bassa, I think he looks really, really good. I'm not just saying that just because I cover them. Let me tell you some of the statistics that we've seen thus far through Bassa's involvement in the preseason games. Now, as I said earlier, the Chiefs took on the Arizona Cardinals in their first preseason game, and they lost. It was a close game and a one-score game that the Chiefs found themselves on the losing side that they've been so accustomed to being on the other side of things. But Jeffrey Bassa, in his time that he was on the field, he led the Kansas City Chiefs defense in total tackles that game. He had 6, 3 solo tackles, and he even had a QB hit. And I think that I touched on this back when I reviewed it. He ended up tackling whoever the Cardinals quarterback was, and it almost looked like he knocked the breath out of himself. He had to go off to the sideline, but luckily he came back in. And I've touched on this several times in an article, especially going into the Seattle Seahawks game, on who is a rookie that the Kansas City Chiefs need to continue their success from game 1 into game 2, the preseason that is. I mentioned Jeffrey Bassa. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he delivered against the Seattle Seahawks While he did not lead the defense in terms of total tackles, he was still a presence to be felt. In that game, he had another 6 total tackles. This time, he had 4 solo tackles and 1 tackle for loss. I touched on this in the article that I wrote about the Kansas City Chiefs, who are looking to have some rookies continue their success from the first preseason game to the second. This is a good thing for Jeffrey Bassa, and it's a great thing for both special teams and defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. You have a guy who is a Swiss Army knife type of player. He's played multiple different sides of the defensive side of the ball. And while he can and most likely is going to be used as a linebacker, he's got a spot wherever there needs to be a spot. In the linebacker room on special teams, he's used to be playing in the backfield as well. While he's been more accustomed to playing at the linebacker position, he's a guy that's going to be able to provide a lot of things for this Kansas City Chiefs team. And I say that because he's a hardworking guy. He's been out there when training camp was beginning. He was out there getting reps early. He came back and wanted to make sure that, the things that he's been taught and that he's learned thus far is being felt on the football field. And Nick Bolton, a veteran, really the leader of the defense, some would say, he's been very vocal about how Jeff Bassa has been he's been asking him a lot of questions. He's been trying to mold his game around the success of others rather than the failures that he has or the successes that he has, because of these guys, they've been in the league for so long. But, I think that if you got Nick Bolton backing you up going into your rookie season, it's going to be great for Bassa in finding a way to get more reps during the regular season. Keep in mind, he's going to get reps. It's a long season ahead. While he might not be a part of the ones yet, they're not saying that he doesn't have the chance or possibilities to evolve into that. If he continues his success from both preseason games, if the Chiefs do throw him out there against the Chicago Bears, which will be held at Arrowhead Stadium, which is behind me for the final preseason game of the offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think that Bassa has a strong chance at finding a strong role in the future, and it could be relatively soon on this Chiefs defense. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, as always, follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. I post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage while we cover the Kansas City Chiefs leading into their last preseason game and into the regular season. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI over on X. All of our articles get published exclusively free for you. Kansas City Chiefs on SI is the place to be and find your Kansas City Chiefs news. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I am Dominic Minchella. Be kind to one another. We need more of it in the world, and I will see you tomorrow.